board members is present. This meeting's been duly called and posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. If you'll join me in the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we go straight to our workshop, I want to recognize Rich Beal, who is with us today with a special announcement and a special invitation, and I want to go ahead and give you that opportunity. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Rich Beal, U.S. Marine Corps retired. I live in Gatesville. I work with our county judge on major issues facing veterans, and I came here tonight to inform you of this event that's coming up in June. My wife and I saw this show, it's called the All Hands on Deck Show, when we were in Branson last November for Veterans Week. It's a patriotic musical that was written on Broadway, a 3-year contract to play in Branson. It recreates the USO shows and radio broadcasts of 1942 that entertain our troops during World War II. It's truly a living history lesson, and it appeals to all ages. After seeing the show, I had a brainstorm. I said, instead of a fish fry or a golf tournament or sitting out in front of Walmart for hours trying to raise money, why not offer people in Central Texas a caliber of entertainment that we don't normally get down here? And I thought, hey, people will really want to see this show. And by staging it as a benefit, they can say thank you for your service in a tangible and meaningful way while enduring 2 hours of fun. Let me tell you briefly about the two beneficiaries. Some of you may already be familiar with Operation Stand Down Central Texas and the work it has done over the last 3 years to help homeless veterans. In January, the director, Joanne Cortland, was flown to Washington by Congressman Roger Williams, where she was honored by the Texas State Society at their inaugural ball. And she was given a $50,000 pickup by Toyota of America. The Veteran Internment Fund is the other beneficiary. It's a new effort that we just launched. Let me relate to you briefly what happens behind the scenes when we have a veteran die with no family. They are what we term an unclaimed veteran. In talking to the administrator out at the Veteran Cemetery in Killeen, I learned that we recently had a deceased veteran, one of my fellow Marines, delivered there for burial in a cardboard box. Thank you for your service. The funeral home must be paid, even for a cremation. The VA has allowances for this, but they're in the form of reimbursements. If there's no family to pay, who's going to claim reimbursement? The funeral home may do so. The last one that we had took 6 months and was denied. We can't expect the funeral homes to always donate their services. If the expenses are not paid, here's what happens. Under state law, the ultimate disposition is the body is shipped to a medical school where it's used as a cadaver and forgotten forever. So the Veteran Internment Fund is intended to allow us, the veterans, to act as that unclaimed veteran's family, to step in and pay those funeral home costs to save that veteran from that fate. That's why I'm bringing this show. I'm not a theatrical producer. I would not be doing this just for entertainment's sake. But people can prevent that from happening simply by buying a ticket to the show and being entertained. Now, the flyer that we are distributing says our goal is $5,000. But if we can fill this theater, the CAC in Temple, for these two performances, we'll not only pay for the show, we will net almost $10,000 on one weekend. It will be the biggest fundraiser that we've ever had. And if we're successful with this two-day performance in June, our hope is to be able to bring the show back next winter when Branson goes dark to play in a larger venue like your Performing Arts Center at your high school. Now, if you traveled to Branson, on top of the $500 or more you'd spend in gas, food, and lodging, you'd pay $40 to see this show. And that's what it's going to cost here. It's no less valuable just because it's coming to Central Texas. But like in Branson, we've created a group ticket to enable and encourage groups of people, friends, couples, employees, whatever, to get together, one person collect all the money, go online and buy all the tickets in bulk, 10 or more, and everybody gets a 20% discount. Now, the reason we're starting to promote the show now, even though it's not until June, is because it's on Father's Day weekend. That's the only weekend the CAC was available when the show could come. So we want people to know about this before they make other plans. In fact, we're hoping that they will want to treat Dad to a great show on Father's Day, especially if Dad is a veteran.
Mr. Bill, I'm so excited for you to bring this to us. We will certainly help promote this. Thank you for bringing this information to us. Great event, great cause. We appreciate that, and we'll help spread the word for you.
That's all I was asking.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, we also need to pause and welcome Janet Lee and Carrie Pearson and Ty Taggart, who along with Jason Carruthers are on the ballot for trustee positions. Jared, come on, talk to us about our schematic design process for these new proposed schools.
Well, thank you for having me again this evening and talking about the elementary school and high school projects here. So you're going to quick preview. Actually, we're going to go all the way to the beginning here. So we're going to talk about the elementary school and the high school. And we've been working since the board called the bond in January, but really before then, about the vision for these two facilities. And we've continued that comprehensive planning process, including district staff and administration. We've additionally engaged students on the high school. We've met with MEP folks, landscape, and IT to really talk about the vision for how we're supporting the Belton ISD school. And so tonight's really that opportunity to engage the board, and we welcome any input that you have along the way. And so we're going to take it project by project. So right now we're going to cover the elementary school. It's a little bit further along because it's got the shorter schedule. So we'll be coming back here next month for schematic design approval. And then the high school, a little bit bigger facility, takes a little bit longer to go through. We'll be coming back in 2 months for schematic design approval on that one. But we're continuing to make progress on both of those. So elementary school 11. So I do know that you have a time frame tonight. You want to be done at 5:40 is what I recall. So we got about 30 minutes here to go through all of it. So I'll try and be succinct and to the point and give you all opportunities for feedback going through here. So from elementary school, we're going to cover 3 main topics from a site design, floor plan design, and the exterior design. And so really we wanted to start building upon the decision for the Poison Oak site. And so you see that actually here in the image. You see Belton, City of Belton in the bottom left, City of Temple in the top right of the image, and the site's highlighted there in white right there in the center of the site. And so we really started a thoughtful thinking about approach, where students might be coming from, how you access the site, and how you get into the intricacies of where parents are coming, students are maybe walking to school, and then bus and vehicular drop-off. We additionally started thinking about, what does the existing site look like? The 2 existing images are there on top, where you see some mature vegetation. So why not take opportunity for that vegetation and create kind of like a park-like setting that you see on the imagery on the bottom. and how are those opportunities that we can create to make this feel like an established campus and really start creating a home for the students who will attend elementary school number 11. And so that really led us into the conceptual site plan design. You saw a preliminary image of this last time, and we talked about a few of the things on here. But really want to guide you through, and I'll use the pointer here on the screen, but we have Poison Oak Road here along the southern edge of the property line. We have Carriage House Drive that goes along the western side, and then really development that is occurring around all three sides right now from the approach. So from an everyday standpoint, we'd be looking at parents and visitors coming along Poison Oak Drive. This would be the primary entrance that we would like them to use to keep the majority of the vehicular traffic out of the neighborhood. We would come in and we would have a parent drop-off loop here that is very similarly configured to what you see at Chisholm Trail and at Tarver. That has a 3-lane queuing, and we're talking about expanding this one even further to be able to ensure that we don't have parents queuing on the road. And then you'd have the staff or the visitor parking there in the middle. And then they would loop back out to Poison Oak Road at that point and come out. Buses, on the other hand, would continue along Poison Oak Drive, and then they would use this drive right here to be able to loop around and drop off then adjacent to the cafeteria. And that would also house the majority of your staff and administration parking along that side. This works very similar to what you see at the existing elementary schools for an arrangement, and we really talked about what are the best options, looking at those existing site plans, the amenities, and ultimately really kind of landed on this. We have talked, and you'll see that there are opportunities then. Let's see, here we go. Then that there's cross-access between these two that would normally be gated to be able to prevent parents from driving between the two. But then additionally, we've got an access point here leading directly out to Carriage House Drive that then extends into the neighborhood here. And then along the northern portion, we would additionally gate this, but there would be a second drive that would again extend to a road that extends deeper into the neighborhood from that standpoint. The thought was, as we're approaching this, we really want this to be a neighborhood school and provide that opportunity for kids to be able to walk to and from the school or bike to and from the school. And so the thought was is keep the majority of the vehicular traffic here along the southern edge, and then that would free up this western edge for pedestrian traffic or bike traffic going through here. So you'll see here along the middle drive, we've actually created a little bike route that then wraps around. The idea that then this little niche right here would be where you'd be able to store bikes, those kind of things. But then as well, there's a new bike path here leading from the neighborhood that we would then connect in, and they would lead back to the same point there on the site. So everybody's kind of converging in the middle of the school from an arrival standpoint that really works well with the district from a site standpoint. As well as the other thing as we were looking at it is we do have fire access, and that's the idea with this loop drive and some of these back drives that we have to provide. But then you see this little area right here where there's actually no road. And really the intent is then that you can provide that clear opportunity for students to go between the building and the play areas and not have to traverse a road getting in there. But then also then this loop here, often they are using that as the hardscape play surface. There's basketball goals, and there's that opportunity for some safe play on a hardscape as well as then in that kind of park-like setting from there. So in quick summary, that's the elementary school site design. We're continuing to look at elements about other access points to the neighborhood, how are we addressing detention and water, and some of the existing on-site utilities from a development standpoint.
So clearly, we're going to be addressing the engineering of water flow and detention ponds and all of that. That's an important in that area already. So it's going to be important for us, and we're going to want to retain that water to have vegetation, right?
Yep, exactly.
I guess one of the questions I'm not a traffic engineer, so obviously I don't know much about what I'm asking, but I'm wondering why we wouldn't want to run the buses through that north side around the loop instead of all the way through. And part of my question is, we're not running buses from Belton to this school. That's not where we're bringing students. And so they're more likely to come from the south or the west, I'm sorry, from the north coming south or from the west moving east. And so my question is, if they're coming down Ridgeway, which is that road just off the picture, and were able to just turn left on, I think that's Surrey, and then go in that back way, wouldn't that be easier and faster and less traffic instead of mixing them then down on Poison Oak?
It potentially is, and often what we find is, and I think that was the real discussion about flexibility as we're looking at the design is ideally everybody would be on the main road to keep them out of the neighborhood, and that's usually where we hear some complaints. But then we do have that opportunity with the gates or the drives that you can come in that route. So, for example, at High Point Elementary School, they have a bus loop and they have a parent drop-off loop.
Right.
Well, because of how they access, they're actually using them both as parent drop-off loops, and they created a different scenario for the bus loop. And so I think as you get into the actual logistics, that it'll continue to evolve, and that's why we've tried to create as much flexibility from access points, whether they're from the south or from the west, that you can kind of manage that as you determine boundaries and where
This gives us some flexibility with that, and certainly it's going to be different when the city, it's Poison Oak widened, which they will, but at whatever point, we don't know, but that gives us some flexibility to come in from the north side or from the south side, depending on what works best, but not mixing bus traffic and drop-off traffic is a priority.
Yes,
always.
exactly.
So you've done that. It just seems like we're mixing them by coming down south, where instead of just running them through the north and back out,
And you potentially can. And
separates it.
That really comes down to then that how many people are there and accessing the site from a parent drop-off scenario, and then the bus have.
And that's right. That's a good point. How many buses are actually going to be running to that school is a whole nother question on that.
I know
Okay.
Jason last month mentioned some stacking issues. I know you mentioned that as well just a minute ago. How much have we increased that area? Because that seems to be a worry.
So right now, I think the number was 70 cars is what we can hold, basically from this point right here all the way back to this drive. And so what we were going to look at doing, is there an option of whether or not we make this road more of a 90-degree angle to pull in a few more cars? Maybe we can fit 96 to 100, around 76 to 80. That's a lot of cars. You usually don't see that many.
What are we stacking at our current High Point?
This
Chisholm Trail?
matches Chisholm Trail, which is the one that has the most stacking at just about 70. And then it goes down from there, Tarver being the least, because it just has an L drive that
Right.
cuts through.
Right.
And that's where the biggest challenge
Yeah.
is.
So this is more than what our current schools have
Right.
already.
Correct.
Good thing. We're making progress.
Making progress.
Okay.
Any other questions, thoughts on the site?
I want to speak to the sidewalk from the, is it Salt Mill?
So that one road that wouldn't have a road, there's a driveway into somebody's house, and of course, they've expressed a lot of concern about that, but we're not even talking about having a road in there anyway, so it's a moot point.
Correct.
Right.
So that there's two bike path or pedestrian path. One is here along the west that would then access the bike path area that would connect to the existing drive. And then the other one is here along the north, where there's the builders put in a sidewalk in anticipation of a future connection to the school. And so we would look to connect that, give students a safe path all the way into the site.
Great. Okay.
Okay. So then from a conceptual floor plan, is very similar to the site plan process, where we really studied the existing site campuses. We've done the same thing on the floor plan side of, what's working within the existing facilities. And so I would say there are two parts to that. One is we have met with staff. We have a teacher, principal, and formal principal from these schools working on our committee, as well as we toured the school several times, looking at the different things that have kind of evolved in the plan, but then also talking about different opportunities. And that's everything from the cafeteria and the size to where the natural light is, and then even in getting into the size of the common areas and lockers and those kind of things, about how can we continue to build upon the successful model that Belton has and provide that next evolution for elementary school design. And so really, you'll see that this is the conceptual floor plan that we have right now. Looks very similar to the existing plan, but there's a few tweaks along the way. And so I would phrase that those tweaks are really getting into the special population, or the specials area, which are your art, your science, and those type of programs within the elementary school level. And so before, the specials, there was 2 science labs here, and then there were a few classrooms right here, as well as art down here. And really what we've done now is really try and focus those classrooms right here, adjacent to the majority of the students on the north end of the building in this scenario. And paired with that, there was a discussion that 4th and 5th grade actually only had 5 classrooms, and the intent that was that the 6th classroom was going to use one of the science labs. Well, they found that as they did that and the student population grew, is those science labs weren't available for checkout by the other students. They became permanent 4th grade and 5th grade classrooms. And you'll see that here now, each one of these represents a classroom wing, is that we are now have one classroom for each, 6 classrooms for each one of the grade levels.
We're going to have an extra class.
So,
So these have 2 more classrooms than the other schools?
well, except now we only have one science lab. So we've kind of done a little trade-off along the way, balancing the total square footage of the building with the use, is really trying to hone in as they've learned and used the building. That was kind of a common theme throughout of them. They all wanted, oh man, I really want another 4th and 5th grade room, but we don't necessarily use these rooms as much. So we're kind of shifted the puzzle around a little bit on that side. As well as then we're creating common spaces, and you'll notice here, I'll call this a double common space. You'll notice that both these classrooms protrude out from the building here in the 4th and the 5th grade wing, whereas in the kindergarten through 3rd grade wing, it's just a single classroom. The thought or the thinking is that students are a little bigger in 4th and 5th grade, so they might need a little bit more room. Exactly. And working through there. So that was one of the major tweaks within the building design. And then some of the other ones that we were looking at as we went through and rearranged some of these parts, we were able to get all the kindergarten classrooms down here, all focused on a single commons. Originally, one of the kindergarten classrooms was actually right here. So we're able to put them together, so it's really kind of a grade level based organization. We additionally extended this corner of the building of the cafeteria to square that off, as there's a little bit of a need for a little bit more dining space. And so overall, really trying to balance square footage from where we were at, what has worked along the way, and then continuing to move forward. So we've increased from 71,000 to 72,000 square feet along the way, which is a very negligible increase and can handle that within the overall project budget from there.
So really, when we walk in and look at it, it's going to look very much like the last schools we built.
Sure. It's going to look very different on the
Except
outside.
better.
Yes. Yeah. Better. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll look very similar. A lot of the same amenities, and as we go.
It'll look very familiar, maybe
Yes,
a better way to say
familiar,
that.
yes, exactly. Because we're talking about changing technology and
Right,
all
right.
those kind of things.
But it will look familiar as we walk in.
Exactly.
With some.
Exactly. So then as we got into the exterior design, much like the site plan and the floor plan, we started looking at what worked within those designs and the architecture that we're seeing here across Belton, and what is it that we wanted to do. And so we really evaluated the existing models, everything from the front door, and I'll say that there were 2 number 1 complaints in the whole building. The first one is it's a challenge to see from the reception desk out to the parking lot. So we're correcting that. And complaint number 2 is there's an odor smell that we continue to hear about from several people, and so we're correcting that as well. But we looked at the existing design all the way down to the classroom windows and what's working and not working, and so we're kind of blending that and ultimately really kind of creating an architecture here that speaks to the design and the modernity of the school. Here we go. So this is what the new elementary school would look like. So here we're just above the bus drive, and you see the parent drop-off loop here. You have the cafeteria here on the right side. And so one of our goals was really to provide the right opportunity for natural light within the building. You'll notice that there's a connecting canopy from the cafeteria here on the right side that extends all the way to the library to be able to help facilitate pickup and drop-off during rainy days. And an identifiable front entry, and you'll notice that that's really square on the front entry with the natural light to be able to get that view from the reception area out to the main parking area. Then as you continue around the back, you see that the windows are now paired within the classroom to provide that right opportunity of light, and then that kind of park-like setting there in the back. So it's a quick tour of the elementary school design.
Which again, looks familiar.
It looks very familiar, very similar massing and
Just
form.
be sure there's a Belton ISD in really big letters somewhere in the front of that.
It is. Did you miss it?
I saw something, I couldn't read what it was, so I don't know what the letters say. but-
Right. So I think it says elementary school 11, BISD elementary school
Yeah.
11. So, but yes, so this is the overall architecture that we're looking at. We are in City of Temple, so there are some requirements in terms of hitting masonry and those kind of things. So we're looking at some combination of brick and stone, but final colors to be determined. We're looking at overall intent at this point.
Red's a good color.
So that's the elementary school in a quick nutshell. Any final thoughts or questions?
Looks familiar. I just want to thank you for using what we had and the people who are living in it, the users, to say, how can we tweak it and make it better? That's a good process. So I appreciate you
Absolutely.
doing that.
Absolutely. And so next time, we'll talk about next steps, but this really represents the architectural portion, and you hit the nail on the head, is that we have civil engineers and mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers who are all working concurrently. We're going to bring you back a short book. It's about 70 or 80 pages that describe all the systems and parts and pieces that will go into the school. And that really represents the culmination of schematic design, describing the intent of the facility and how it's going to move forward from there to where we start generating blueprints for contract documents and going out to bid in November, I think is what I recall.
Was it Chisholm that had the mechanical? That was buttons mechanical at first?
That's what he's talking about, that's what he was referring to. You want to explain that?
Sure. So the mechanical systems at the three schools are large package DX working as a VAV system. And one of the challenges is that one of the exhaust pipes was overly close to the air intake and being on that unit. So there were two challenges. One is the position relative to the prevailing winds, as well as the parapet heights. And so it was actually exhausting and then recirculating into the building. And so I believe on the existing schools, we've heard that that's been taken care of by raising some of the intakes and kind of changing where they're at. On this facility, we're actually looking at doing single package DX units for each classroom. So we'll have individual control, but then a large package energy recovery unit. Can't remember the exact style, not my realm. But to be able to manage energy and meet the energy conservation code requirements from there.
Great.
And that was from feedback from our maintenance department. So
Correct.
we actually had a user group
Good.
meeting with the maintenance department too, to
Great.
talk about things that worked and didn't work from their
And a building
perspective.
tour and everything else. Yep.
Good deal.
So, on to comprehensive high school number 2. So, very similar to the elementary school, we've had lots of user group meetings along the way. We have more Wednesday and Thursday where we're going to meet with all the individual teachers and groups to really kind of dive into the plan. So we really have started building on what was option B as we work through the design. So that's the 2,500 student core and classroom, 385,000 square feet. And continued that process and involvement along the way in terms of looking at everything from site design to the floor plan design. We're starting right now to look at the exterior design. We have a meeting next week to start reviewing that. And it's really the continuation of that layered and iterative process where you get more and more detail along the way. The one thing I'll point out, and you'll see it here later on, is the image on the right was originally a test fit that we had done between the two property sizes, one being the 60 acres, which was the BISD-owned property, as well as looking at some additional space there on the right side. And you'll see that how that's providing some opportunity for orientation of the fields and some opportunities for growth as we move forward within the design. But here you see the site design, and this is really, again, same thing, is let's start at a global perspective, look at how people are accessing the site and would be coming to it. On Poison Oak, the Poison Oak Road improvements are currently being planned and kind of worked into the budget through the city of Temple. Prairie View Road, however, is already in progress. That's in the budget and moving forward. And so that will be one of the primary access points that will actually come across here, cut up along the north, and then connect back into 2438. So it's really going to rework that intersection and clean things up from that standpoint from an access. But right now, our plan is that the property here you see in the red outline would be the main property, and we'd access predominantly from the north from the high school with the thought that we want to try and separate the elementary school and the high school traffic as much as possible from that standpoint. We've started looking at the natural landscape and forms and approach on this one as well. Deceivingly, the image in the top shows an image from Poison Oak Road looking north, and there's about 20 to 25 feet of rise from that point there to the top of the site. So we're starting to look at, how does that impact the building design, and how do we start addressing that geotechnically and those kind of elements, again, that moving forward. From the exterior amenities, and we'd kind of reviewed this before, we have all the different little parts and pieces, which you actually see here on the site plan, really being implemented into the design. And so on this design, this road here along the north is 2438, probably about 2483, sorry. Off to the screen to the right would be 317 running north-south, so that's not currently pictured in here. But really the main focus was we looked at several different options and ultimately resided at the high school, which is kind of the light beige block, really sits at the northeast corner of the site as much as possible. Is that with the majority of people approaching from that roadway, we want it to have a presence. We want the front door to be easily identifiable and be like, hey, that's Belton Comprehensive High School number 2. That's where I want to go, and really access from that standpoint.
But it also creates a safety barrier because the school itself is kind of behind the building. So I like the visual and the flow of it. Makes sense. And wrapped around a little bit, so things are a little bit closer, even from the corners.
Yep,
that are being spread out.
Exactly, and you're hitting right on one of those
Curve that works.
key strategies. So one of which is we look at a parent drop-off loop here on the front. We have separate student drop-off, 2 entrance and exits on the left side. And then this would be the primary bus route to be able to serve students and kind of get into that little shortcut area that you were mentioning. And then buses and parents would actually be able to continue down to High Point. And this is the one where High Point actually uses both loops as parent drop-off loops, and we're kind of planning around that to make sure that continues to work. From the high school perspective, we are really focusing in on a courtyard concept. So you'll see that the academics is on the east end of the building, and the athletics and performing and fine arts is on the west end. The idea that, these are your major visitation spaces, so the student parking is doubling as that event parking. So from an everyday standpoint, students come there, but then also if you have, the performance, Little Shop of Horrors, that everybody can park and walk in and go enjoy the performance. One of the other strategies that we're really looking at that's a little different than what you have at Belton High School is the athletic complex here. Is that when we talked with everyone, is the field and the track is one of the highest used items within the
Year-round.
Year-round. When you look at artificial turf, it gets the majority of the uses. You're not having to stay off of it. So we wanted to create that opportunity where the athletic stadium or the athletic complex really came near, had a close proximity to the building, to where students can literally traverse in and out. But then we also saw where you see these few lines here in between the track and field and the building that you can create a plaza space. So you're starting to engage that building, very similar to the field house at Belton High School. And some of those things that are inside the building can look out onto the track and field for the students. But also then maybe during game day, you can move away some of the weights, the free weights area, and you can have a booster club event there, and you could sell tickets and be in the air conditioning and watch the game. There's some synergy and opportunity from that, as well as, locating all the restrooms within the building, which saves on the plumbing cost and those kind of things. So as we focused on that design, we have the athletic complex, we have the practice fields here across the street that are also very heavily used by the students. And then we really create kind of a destination facility for baseball, softball, and tennis. So where the main kind of ticket concession restroom would be integrated into the building here, this little block right there between the two buildings would be the ticket concession restroom to service those fields there. So we've got 10 tennis fields with a center area between, so you can have spectator viewing. Very similar layout and design. The football field would be most similar to Wilson Kersey, and the baseball, softball field, and tennis would be very similar to Belton High School from that perspective.
How do you get there? I really like putting the home plates together and the tennis court so they share that concession area and all. How do you get there from the parking lot?
So right now, the parking lot, and you'll notice that there is a separate parking lot here down at the bottom, is again, it just very similar to the elementary school. We want to think about student safety at the high school level as well. So right now, this drive that runs between the football stadium and the baseball softball field, we would see that primarily used as a fire access drive. So it may only be 20 feet wide and have a gate to prevent access so your students, are free from car traffic at that point. So then the primary access would be here along the western property line, and you could come and park right here. There's about 120 to 150 parking stalls right there. So there's quite a few stalls.
But if you're parking up in the main parking lot, would you walk down that road, or how do you access for entrance fee? Where's your entrance gates and those kinds of?
I would assume all the entrance gates are right here.
All right
So
there,
we can
too.
talk about the
So
right.
if somebody, if we have a baseball and a softball and a tennis tournament all going on at the same time, we're going to have people parking up in the north side.
Yes, sir.
And walking in, but they would still walk down that road?
Correct. We don't have all the sidewalks shown. We may
But we-
look at one
right.
that goes in
But we
between the
need,
two.
that's the
Yes.
thinking, is the traffic flow the pedestrian flow would go that way?
Correct.
Okay.
And so then one of the high,
What direction is that? Why is it tilted like that?
so why it's tilted like that. So as we looked, and you can see that there's a lot of things here on the site, and you'll see that there are even some dashed items here. This is some sort of future, maybe field house, swim center, to be determined, something 15, 20 years down the road that we haven't thought of yet.
Space.
Yes, some space, exactly. That there's opportunity for growth around the building and around some of the athletic complexes and meeting through there. But one of the things that additional land provided the opportunity for is to orientate the fields in a true north-south direction. And so the true north-south is actually kind of canted like that along the way. And that's the optimal direction for the fields. If we didn't have that, we would probably have to make them parallel to the property line, which would probably be about 10 or 15 degrees off of true north. Not the end of the world, but not ideal from that scenario.
But that's really important to tennis coaches and players, because otherwise you have one looking into the sun and one not, and that equals it
Exactly.
out, right? So
Exactly.
That's things that they think about that y'all have already thought about.
Exactly.
Good. And same for the baseball and softball, obviously.
So then as we look at the design of the facility, we talk about the front door here. We talked a little bit about the courtyard here is, the opportunity of the athletics and the relationship to the building. But then here, this is really a courtyard focused on academics and that opportunity for outdoor space. And that really led us into the conceptual floor plan design. We've talked a lot so far about the strategies going through there, and I'll talk about three in particular. One is that courtyard and that opportunity for collaboration and environment. The other is dispersed dining, and then the last one is the idea of efficiency and think tanks within that design. And all that really came about through our project executive committee meetings, the PEC meetings, where we identified these. We toured existing schools. We talked about opportunities within dining, all the way from Oklahoma, all the way through Central Texas. We started with a building macro design and overall organization. But when we really looked at the site, we were starting to gel in on this floor plan here. So you'll see that we have the main entry right here on the north side. We have the outdoor courtyard to orientate you to the site. But from an overall organizational scheme, we really wanted to focus in on this main street. It's this grand connecting corridor that really links the building from east to west. It makes circulation within the building and wayfinding very easy. You know your way around kind of inherently as you experience the facility. And so then on the east end of the building, you have the core academic areas, and on the west end, you have the athletic in green and the performing and fine arts in the kind of pinkish color from there. So the three things that we wanted to talk about. So outdoor courtyard. So you'll see that here along this core, this Main Street area, you have the core dining area, you have the library, and you have some athletic and CTE spaces. And then as well as the athletics, is everyone really kind of focuses in on this one central courtyard. Is that really becomes that opportunity where we can spend some dollars to really maximize that option because everybody's going to use it. You could have dining outside. You could take a book during lunch, go read out on the library, or have some outdoor space on the library, or as you engage on game day, that there are those opportunities as well as in the CTE and starting to engage projects and art and those type of things that we see every day within the design. As we start talking about think tanks and flexibility, so this is most similar to New Tech at Wascow, is teachers don't own their classrooms. So they actually kind of move around. So most people think of that like a college campus. So really that's the opportunity that we built here, the little TT here in each corner on the first floor, as well as then on the second floor is the little think tank that they can look over the collaboration space. They have that opportunity to engage with students on every day. It's kind of the glass bowl that the teachers are there, have ready access to students or, vice versa, and then they would go and work within their classrooms. But the goal is that instead of building 60 classrooms, because you're able to drive efficiency, you can build 50 classrooms, and you can build less square footage and use it more. You're making it work harder, that you don't have empty classrooms sitting all day, every day, like in a traditional school where teachers own their classrooms. And then the third one is that idea of dispersed dining. So here.
Before you get too far afield of that, it's important, and I want to make sure you have a chance to say what I've already asked, but teachers like that, students like that, feedback you've gotten from both groups?
Sure. So surprisingly, usually we often hear that administrators like it, but teachers, But really, the teachers have really embraced it. They really welcome that opportunity, and they think that that those think tanks really provide that opportunity for collaboration amongst themselves, really for the horizontal and vertical planning. So not only is it maybe English teachers, but you have social studies in that same think tank, and then they're collaborating. Hey, I'm writing a paper in social studies. Can you help me out? And
We've heard that in some other places, newer schools that have been built like this, but we've experienced it. New Tech at Wasco, they've experienced it, and so we've got some experience with that in a positive way. Students thought it was kind of cool too.
Exactly. They did. They welcomed the opportunity and thought that would allow them more engagement with the teachers and that opportunity for them.
Good, thank you.
And then finally, dispersed dining. I know it's a lot of information. Dispersed dining is one of the discussion points that we had is at Belton High School is it's a challenge to eat within that environment, is put so many people in an environment. So some people opt not to eat or not eat in that location and kind of wander throughout the building. And so the thought is to really embrace that opportunity and provide a multitude of dining. So here we have that dining commons that really links some of these spaces, and that glue between the academic area, the library, and is along that Main Street. But then we actually undersized that or reduced some of that square footage and took that extra square footage and put it into the learning commons. And so this larger gray area that you have between the classrooms is really that kind of dining space that's being borrowed. So again, in the thought of how do we make our facility work hard and how do we use it the most? Well, let's use the dining area as a collaboration space. So as you look in these photographs, and that would be most similar to this one, is you have the classrooms here on the left, a lot of glazing and transparency on both sides, but this becomes a collaboration space. So whether you're in English or you're in social studies, you're doing a project, you need to work in groups, or you're done with your assignment, it allows that teacher and those students the flexibility to move in and out of the classroom, really providing them more educational space within the facility. And that's really, again, linked to then the think tanks here, where they have transparency, and you see here in the distance is the student commons. But then from a dispersed dining opportunity is right now we have this little golden color here on the corner is a kitchen space, the main kitchen area, and then a third kitchen area. That really allows that opportunity for students not all have to come back to the cafeteria during the lunch period to grab their meal. They can, it may be burgers in the top left wing and burritos in the bottom right wing, but it allows that opportunity to flex in and out of those spaces and really kind of break down what we see as those large crowds and make it much more manageable and much more pleasant to be within.
Essentially doing what we have at Belton High School, but spreading it out.
Exactly.
It's creating smaller spaces for students to have lunch so they don't have this big, larger group feeling. And I heard one of our students that provided some input to us said how nice that would be to be able to go to the library and sit on that porch, which you may address in a minute, and have a place to study and eat her lunch versus being in a larger setting with a lot of noise.
Exactly. So then, last two things on the high school. So you'll see that here we've got the two core educational areas on each end, and that's really linked by the CTE spaces. And then on the second floor, you'll see the science spaces here. So rather than being a destination, we're starting to see CTE and science really integrated into that educational environment. So as you're changing, you'll have a lot of transparency on the culinary lab, and you can actually see into the kitchen and them working. And the idea is that you can get students excited, that freshmen who, hey, I never thought about going into culinary, but I see that and I love it and I want to do it, all the way into, there's potential opportunity here is that you can peek through here and look down on some of the CTE spaces. So maybe you're looking into the building trades and you're actually seeing the house that they're building, and you heard about them and they won the state championship. Well, what is it that they do there? 4 times. So, and really putting that on display. But then so that's one. And then the other is then the library. Is that really changing the way that looks is the work that you've done already at Belton High School and really changing the face of the library and the digital learning commons. We're looking at implementing that here in really a flexible environment, but then again, kind of bleeding or blurring that line between what is library and public space and the idea of a porch. So it may be a dais that, you go and you can sit on, and it's that little niche, we heard the comment about, oh, it's like creating a Starbucks. And that's exactly it, is we wanted this to be a place that kids want to come to, that they're excited to be at, that they can find their little niche within the school, and kind of exist and be enjoyable. And that's half the battle of getting, wanting kids to really achieve. So looking to provide all those opportunities here.
So I like the design a lot. One of the things I'm concerned about is noise. You've got a lot of noisy things clustered together. How soundproof can you make a wall between band and orchestra and dance and choir and all those so that they're not bleeding into each other?
So, we can make a wall really soundproof.
Okay.
But
it's important for
it
those.
is. It absolutely is. But one of the things, right now, these are still kind of big blocks.
Right.
So we're going to continue to break down the band hall. We're going to have offices and storage rooms and those kind of
You
things.
do things like
We
that in
try and
between
put
buffers.
those, exactly. The best thing to kill sound is space.
Sure.
And that will help create those spaces, and will continue to evolve along the way.
Great. Anybody have any questions? Mike?
One question, and I'm not expecting an answer on it, I'm just curious. Is it typical at a 6A high school that the band would use a parking lot for marching practice? And are there any other options or better options?
Absolutely. There are always options. So what we've done here is we've sectioned off a portion of the student parking lot, and that's what you see right here. That would basically represent the sideline to sideline and about 20-yard line to 20-yard line of area. No curbs, basically can stripe that off.
They paint,
Yep.
paint a football field
Exactly.
basically on it, so.
And what we're seeing, and we're continuing to kind of keep this on the tab, is that is the potential that you need that for student parking, which is the real challenge. That we might find an area, here we go, right here that's closer to the band hall, or maybe we can adjust these drives a little bit and get a little bit closer, that could be a true dedicated band practice field. we almost always see them as like an asphalt or concrete type surface. So as the budget allows, we'll try and fit one of those in if possible.
Unless you're a property wealthy school district that can build a domed practice field, but we're not.
So, absolutely. So then the last thing is kind of what I talked about last time in May, we're planning on bringing schematic design for approval, which would be the large package for the elementary school. We'll give you an update on the comprehensive high school progress. So we'll start seeing the exterior design and those type of elements for that one. And we'd bring that back in June for schematic design approval and marching forward. So that's my presentation summary. Tried to make
Anybody have
it
any
short and
questions?
sweet.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate your continued work on this and responsiveness to us. Okay, board, it's 5:55 and we've got students queuing up to come. We are going to, at this time, go to closed session for a brief closed session, and we'll reconvene here in a few minutes. We got a little bit of a late start, so we'll be back very shortly, but that'll allow us time to transition and get our students in to begin our recognitions here in a few minutes. For waiting for us and for joining and crowding in with us. We may do a little transition, but I want to reconvene in open session. We're going to spend some time recognizing our students. We have some amazing students in a variety of activities that have achieved great things, and so we're going to recognize many of them tonight. And we're going to start with a very large group that we're going to try and break down into smaller groups for photo opportunities. So let me give some instructions for those of you that haven't been here before. We're going to ask you to come up as a group. Mr. DeBeer will mention what group we're going to do. We'll bring you up. We've got one of the board members will give you a certificate. Hold up here. We're going to take pictures for our website. Parents, please come up. Take as many pictures as you want. Don't be shy about that, and we'll recognize and talk about them and do that group by group. So let's begin with our Skills USA group, and we'll see how this works.
Thank you, Mr. Pittenger. I'm really excited to recognize the students who competed at the State Skills USA contest.
With Sue.
And we're going to start with the ribbon winners
The ribbon winners.
at the Skills USA contest, which include both automotive engine projects and mill and cabinet projects who brought home blue and red ribbons from the state competition. The automotive engine project ribbon winners included 2 perfect scores, by the way, and they were Antonio Sanchez, Benjamin Pintico,
Come on up, guys.
Tyler Easley,
Don't be shy.
and Michael Kuhn. The mill and cabinet project winners who received ribbons were Nick Garcia, Austin Waldo,
Come on, Brian.
Elijah Butler,
Glenn, come on up and help.
Jonathan Salinas, and Matthew Douglas.
Help her to keep everybody close up here. All right, y'all come on up so we can recognize you. All right, these guys represent some of our great technicians doing great things and their sponsors. Okay, we're going to take a picture of this group. Great job, guys. Thank you. I hope we got pictures. I can't see.
Next, we'd like to recognize our 3rd place and bronze medal winners. Reagan Chapman won the bronze in the cabinet making category, and Reagan, along with Daniel Ham and Rihanna Eubanks, won 3rd place in the chapter display project category.
Great, another photo op. Wait, y'all are supposed to bring the bling.
We have several teams who received silver medals, taking 2nd place in their events. First, we had the 2nd place Teamworks Construction Trades team of David Herman, Bailey Eichenloff, Shane Bagley, and
Come on up,
Lihu
guys.
Penny. We also had the community service project team of Kyla Dermody, Alexandra Lachlan, and Bailey Stevens. The second place
Come on up, Craig, help.
digital cinema production team
Karen?
of Noah Varville and Phoenix Phillips. And the silver medal winning forensic science team of Brandon Grimm, Alexandra Jourdain, and Neri Ellis Martinez.
Come on up. All right, y'all represent another great group, medalists. But I don't know where's the bling? Great job, guys.
And we have two first-place gold medal teams that are headed to nationals in Louisville, Kentucky in June.
There you go, representing.
The first team that we want to recognize is our Teamworks team, so we took both second and first in the Teamworks event.
Yeah, we did. What Mr. Sullivan said, the only way to beat Belton is to take another team from Belton.
Those team members are Chloe Bush, Andres Zapata, Joseph Herman, and Alan, and I'm sorry in my notes, Alan, I don't have your last name.
Harlow.
This is the fourth consecutive year that Belton High School has won first place in the Teamworks event. Also headed to nationals in Kentucky, we have our chapter business procedures team. It's a parliamentary procedures team of
Y'all stay
Gabriel
up here.
Alvarado
Here,
Perea,
Here, we'll get the other.
Keith Grace, Michaela Parker,
Come on up, guys.
Haley Peace, Jordan Ross, and Jeffrey Trowell.
There you go. Karen? Where'd you go, Karen? Oh, come on up here and get in this picture. These are our gold medal state champions headed to Louisville, Kentucky next month, or June, a couple of months, to represent not just Belton High School and Belton ISD, but the state of Texas. How about that? Okay, y'all gonna have to crunch together to make a picture. Y'all get together a little closer.
Air conditioning's gone. Yeah.
Good job, guys. Looking forward to you bringing home some national championships. All right, we get our skills. Next up, how about academic UIL state qualifier?
So that's one incredibly successful state contest that just wrapped up. We have another state contest on the horizon. 3 students from Belton ISD qualified for the academic UIL state meet. First up, Caden Utley, who qualified by placing first in the accounting competition.
There's Caden. Where'd you
And
go?
I would add, helped lead the Belton High School accounting team to second place in the team contest.
There you go. Good job. Headed to name.
Serena Shador placed first in literary criticism, and Rupo Zhao placed third in current issues. They're both headed to the state meet. And in addition, we have a first alternate for the state meet. That's Faith Johnson, who placed fourth in feature writing.
Awesome, guys. Congratulations. You got it. The perfect. Who's perfect? Are
Didn't
you
you get a
practically
perfect
perfect?
score on the physics test?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. Y'all get up here on this podium and be dazzling and impressive, because that's dazzling and impressive results. Great job, guys. And we're looking forward to bringing back some bling from state, right? All right. Good job, guys. All right, how about the FCCLA State Leadership Conference?
Well, we have another student who's already brought back some bling from state, and that's Sean Lush, who won 6th place in the fashion design category at the FCCLA State Leadership Conference.
All
That's
right.
awesome.
Show and tell is my favorite part of school.
And I also just want to note that Belton High School was recognized as the top 6A school to collect donations on behalf of Jonathan's Place, a charity with the mission of providing a safe and loving home for victimized children.
Variety, diversity. All right, good job, congratulations. Awesome. Thank you for bringing that to us, to show us. That's special to get to, that's awesome, thank you. Very lovely. Very nice. All right, how about ADTS National Dance Championship, our Magic Bells?
Well, from state to nationals,
Come on up, Bells.
the Magic Bells turned in a strong showing at the ADTS Nationals competition in Denton. There were 80 teams at the competition, including several college-level teams, and the Bells placed 5th overall. They were also the first runner-up in the medium team and jazz categories, won the designation of champions in modern kick and novelty categories, and placed 4th in the GPA award recognition. In addition to the team success, we had a number of individual dancers who received honors. Our officers were awarded 2nd runner-up in modern and 5th runner-up in elite team hip-hop. Lauren Ustanik was Miss High Kick champion. Gracie Fothergill received a spot on the Junior Miss High Kick Company, and Bella Mortal earned a spot on the All-American Kick Company.
Miss Hill, I think we need the Bell of Bells and the Bell of the Bell of Bells to join this picture. Come on, it's a photo op. Congratulations to our Magic Bells. And Marla, too. Thank you for coming, Marla. I didn't see you. You were hiding back there. They know how to pose for pictures. They're used to it. Great job. We're proud of y'all. Thank you. Thanks for coming. All right. Now, our Central Texas Incredible Kids, one of our Incredible Kids has already come and gone, got his certificate early.
This is the 18th year for the Central Texas Incredible Kids Luncheon, and we have 2 students in Belton ISD who were recognized this year. You mentioned Jacoby Calloway, who's a 4th grade student at Sparta Elementary School, and picked up his certificate and left a little bit earlier. We also have Cozy Adelli, a 7th grade student at South Belton Middle School,
See.
who was nominated by her mother for the award, and isn't here apparently.
Oh. But we'll recognize her anyway. These are incredible kids. All right, how about let's recognize some of our staff. The Rotary Club Educator of the Quarter from the Belton Rotary Club.
Good evening. We are excited to announce Veronica Champion has been selected as the Belton Rotary Club Educator of the Quarter. And Ms. Champion is a 4th grade math and science teacher at Sparta Elementary, and she's in her 9th year of education and her 6th year with BISD. Ms. Champion has taught several grade levels as a bilingual teacher. This experience has enabled her to connect with children, develop systems that meet the need of a variety of learners, and she's also a great resource for other staff members. She forms strong relationships with all of her students' families and prides herself on ensuring that everyone is welcomed and valued. And Julie Manley, principal at Sparta Elementary, stated, Veronica is a team player and constantly challenges her fellow teachers to dig deeper into the curriculum. We are blessed to have her at Sparta for so many reasons, and I am thankful for her dedication and service. So congratulations.
Thank you, Veronica. And you'll get to be having lunch with Mr. Haggerty. All right. Pretty awesome. How about the Temple Rotary Club Educator of the Month?
Yeah, so Brad Hobbs is being recognized as the Temple Rotary Club Educator of the Month. And Mr. Hobbs is an agriculture teacher at Belton High School, and he's in his 23rd year in education and his 10th year with Belton ISD. Mr. Hobbs has been instrumental in growing our ag program, and he's created partnerships with various vet clinics in Belton and Temple for internship opportunities for students. He has grown the program to which it currently sits at over 500 students participating, and his contributions have been a big part of us getting an ag barn. He teaches landscape design and manages the greenhouse, which is utilized to partner with our school nutrition department to grow herbs for school lunches. Amanda Necessary, Director of CTE, stated, Mr. Hobbs consistently looks for new opportunities and programs for students. He is one of the most dedicated teachers I have had the pleasure to know and work with. So congratulations, Mr. Hobbs.
All right, good job. Did we get a smile on a picture? No, never. I say, if anybody can ever get a smile, you smile great, but always not for a picture. Okay, our next one is the Big Red Community Partner. Each month we recognize one of our partners.
So we've celebrated our CTE students who excelled in the Skills USA and FCCLA contests. And that success reflects not just their own hours of hard work, but a real investment from the community, including the investment that Scott Cooper and Cooper and Bright Plumbing has made in our teamwork students and our construction trade students to mentor them as plumbers and develop their skills. And Scott is committed not just to working with our teamwork students who are headed to nationals and helping them prepare, but he also has provided real opportunities for apprenticeship and jobs within the company after graduation for some of our students. So we truly appreciate the contributions that Cooper and Bright Plumbing are making to our students.
And our real superstar. It's a big deal to have partnerships with people in the business world working with our students and giving them that hands-on, real-world experience and education. And obviously, the results are extraordinary based on that. Thank you for helping make that happen. Thank you for committing your time to our students.
And you keep being about awesome.
You know, we talk a lot about being college or career ready. These students coming out of that program are career ready and being offered jobs well before they're ready to graduate. It's amazing to watch how that works. Okay, our next recognition, Community Champion Award from Central Texas 4C. Janelle, thank you for coming today.
Hello, I'm Janelle Frazier. I'm the Executive Director of Central Texas 4C, and we administer the Head Start program in Bell County. Several of our sites are here, so you can imagine what we went through when we found out that they were going to bulldoze our beautiful center, which is right behind this building. First, of course, came the tears because we were going to lose that beautiful oak tree. Second came panic. Where are we going to go? But third, because last year there were some women in Belton ISD who are visionaries, and I would like for Susan Kincannon, Sue Banfield, Deanna Lovesmith to please come up here. And I'm glad somebody said better late than never. We presented this award at our banquet in December, but it dawned on me after attending your school board meeting last time, well, gee, y'all don't even know how much we appreciate BISD. So every year we pick a community champion that helps Central Texas 4C, and you can come now to Beck's. At the other end of that building is our Belton Central Early Head Start facility, and so beautifully done and thought through. So thank you very much, and somebody's got to take a picture for me.
I bet we can take care of that for you.
Thank you. We appreciate what you do for the children in our community and your partnership and work with us.
Whatever makes us look skinnier.
Hang on one second.
Oh, okay. Oh, dear.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Thank you, Janelle. All right. Speaking of partnerships, one of our great partners, longtime partners, is the Military Child Education Coalition. And I'm not exactly sure what we're here for, but welcome.
Well, thank you. My name is Mary Keller. I'm President and CEO of Military Child Education Coalition and a friend to many of you all here for a long time. So, Military Child Education Coalition, we've been around for 20 years. We were founded in Central Texas in partnership between educators and the community and the military community. And there's over 2 million children whose parents serve currently in the active duty forces, the National Guard and Reserve, and about 2 million more whose parents are post 9/11 veterans. Of the kids whose parents are serving currently, not quite 1.2 million are in grades pre-K through 12. So all of our partnership is based upon the work that we do with school districts and local communities because, as one of our founders, Lieutenant General retired Pete Taylor, said, goodness happens at the local level. So why do we want to recognize Randy? And what happened, he said, why? Well, as part of our effort, especially when it was quite difficult times, as always, but especially difficult during the war, and as the war continues, Fort Hood had been going through a lot of unfortunate deaths, and we had worked closely with General Pete Corelli and others about how do we help take care of children, when they've lost a parent. And one of the ideas that one of our board members, Patty Shinseki, had was that we need to have public engagements because there's so many good things that are already happening, and it's more like how do you knit it together, and we don't need to start anything else new. So, okay, we have this idea we're going to do a public engagement. We've never done this before, but that doesn't stop us because we're Texans, right? So we said, well, let's do it. We have the opportunity to start things in our Central Texas community. So we said, let's do one for the Fort Hood area. So we were able to invite 100 people, and Randy Pittinger was one of the 100 that came. So it was the communities that serve the Fort Hood area, and it was really looking at how do we support kids through the best of times and the most difficult of times. So, and then how do we learn about military kids in ways that we can help other children? So what happened was, after that, we went on to do 30 states, public engagements, and 7 communities, and now we do local convenings, and we've done it, for example, for Norfolk. We just finished with the state of Virginia, and next week is the United States Global Strike Command. So what started with an idea that you were part of the committee has continued. But it doesn't matter unless it happens locally. So what Randy has done with the wonderful people here in Belton and with Belton ISD is continued. So they came up each with a local community plan, and so a plan then was, let's have a military task force with the Chamber of Commerce and a continued effort for military children. 10 years later, there is one community, and we work all over the United States that continued with their promise. Now, what I love working about with Belton ISD is you all get to yes, and you mean it. When Belton ISD, when this community says yes, you can count on it. It's not for a short period of time. It's not bless your heart. It's a commitment to children. And we have such a chance to work with people everywhere. And we have so many good people in so many places that do good things for kids. But what a blessing and joy to bring forward one of our local communities as we turn 20 in the month of the military child. So that's what I'm bringing for our board, is ingratitude to the leadership, to the commitment, to getting to yes and meaning it. And Cindy similarly would like to say a couple of things.
Hi, I'm the Vice President for Fund Development and Marketing for the Military Child Education Coalition, but I'm also an active duty Army wife and proud resident of Belton for 10 years. We homesteaded here while my soldier went off to 3 deployments and 5 different assignments. We educated 2 children at BISD and sent them off to UT. I had to learn that, but I've learned it well. Really, really proud to be part of this community. And for 6 years now, I've been able to participate in the military family night that Belton hosts. And we know that our military family population has grown year over year. And I'm here to personally tell you and to thank you that the reason that's happened is because you all make us feel welcome. And we can see ourselves having a life here, raising our families here. And so at that point when I can convince my soldier to retire, we will be retiring here in Belton, and largely due to the kind of support we've received from you all and from the community at large. So thank you from the bottom of my heart as a military family. We appreciate all you've done.
Thank you.
So it's our pleasure to recognize you, Randy, and really you personify everything that happens in
It's an
this
us
community.
thing.
This is a limited edition graphic from our artists, and the key words are grit, determination, and perseverance. And we believe that, states what you've done and what everyone's done here. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. We need a photo of the flag.
Yes, yes.
On behalf of our community, and I'll accept this on behalf of our community, thank you for equipping us. What MSEC has done is give us the tools and the how-to to match the heart. I love Belton because our community supports our kids, always has in a number of ways, but you gave us the tools and the how-to and empowered us. And it's been a great thing to watch over the last many years, but thank you for the partnership with the student program, like Francis Hesseltine Students Program, the many things that you all do. We appreciate you. You're making a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sweet.
Mayor. Thanks.
Friends of Belton there. Here, I'll leave that out there so everybody can see it. For a while. Okay, I should have said this earlier, and I meant to, but wasn't it wonderful to walk into the building to the art show? The Belton ISD art show is going on this month. What a tremendous opportunity for our art students from all levels, elementary, middle school, and high school, to demonstrate the great things that are happening in our art programs. I had a lot of fun at their art program the other night. There was some interactive kind of things. We've got a few more recognitions coming, but our students aren't all done. Our boys golf team ran away with district, so we're going to have another district champion. Our UIL band just swept sweepstakes in amazing ways. And I just want to give one more shout out for our Big Red Heart Awards. Board, I hope you're hearing how meaningful it is to our staff. We're getting our employees recognized by students, by parents, by fellow teachers, other staff members, and what a great, great program that is. So our HR department's done a great job with that Big Red Heart Award. Okay, I think we're done with the recognitions. We get everybody? It's a good thing to have to spend that long recognizing our students and staff. At this time, we have public comments. I didn't see anybody else sign up for any. Do we have any takers for public comments? Hearing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. Do any board members have any items they'd like pulled for discussion? Okay, let me identify those items. We have the minutes of the March 27th, 2017 regular board meeting, the unaudited financial report for the month ending March 31st, 2017, gifts, grants, and bequests of less than $1,000, which are listed. We have other revenues of at least $1,000, less than $10,000. We had a $1,500 donation from Beltec Industries for Belton New Tech High School at Wasco activity account for robotics. And then we have one budget amendment for the Shanklin Road property future school site purchase that we approved last month to increase the budget for $1,529,652.01. We have one item for expenditures over $50,000. This is based on the state issuing a new proclamation for Spanish 1, 2, and 3 curriculum. Student teacher resources will be purchased through the vendor, Houghton Mifflin Court, at a cost of $149,143. Instructional materials allotment will be used to support the cost of these new resources for our students and staff. We have the audit engagement letter for 2016-17. This is to continue and improve the engagement of Patillo, Brown, and Hill PC for the annual financial audit for the fiscal year ending August 31st, 2017. We're appreciative of Paula Lau and her work with our district business office. We have 2 supply equipment and service bids. First is for classroom instruction supplies and equipment, RFP 1702-743156, to approve the vendor list for classroom instructional supplies and equipment. Contract effective May 1st, 2017 through April 30th, 2018, with 3 automatic renewals 1 year at a time. And technology parts, supplies, and equipment, supplemental 1, RFP 17039151558, to approve the vendor list. Contract will be effective May 1st, 2017 through April 30th, 2018. We have the request for proposals for depository services, RFP 17027431555, to approve BBVA Compass Bank as the depository for school funds for the 2017-2019 biennium, beginning September 1, 2017. I meant to mention earlier, special thanks to Tammy Shannon. She brings us these RFP proposals and does a great job of making sure we're taking care of all the business on that. We have the E-rate Category 2 wireless enterprise wireless project year 2 to approve the selection of NetSync network solutions to be identified in the E-rate 471 submission due to Universal Service Administration Company by May 12, 2017 for the enterprise wireless project year 2, and authorize the superintendent to execute a service agreement with NetSync network solutions. We have board policy update 107. Local policies, including CDC local, CJ local, DC local, DEE local, DFAA local, DFBA local, FEA local, FFA local, FJ local, and GE local. This is to add, revise, or delete local policies as recommended by the TASB Policy Service and according to the instruction sheet for TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 107, with the changes to FJ local as presented. We have the amendments to the teacher and other employee employment contracts. And finally, the state waiver for dual credit attendance accounting to approve a waiver request to the Texas Education Agency for dual credit attendance accounting for 3 school years, 2016-17, 2017-18, and 2018-19. Is there a motion to approve? Motion from Mr. Cowan, second from Mr. Norwood. All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. Passes unanimously. Dr. Kincannon. If we make that consent agenda any longer, I'm not going to make it through it.
We're trying to be efficient.
We're trying to be efficient, but mercy.
Oh, I know. Just a few items this evening. First, a little preview of graduation. We have about 6 weeks of school remaining, and just wanted to let you know that we're preparing to graduate. Our class of 2017 is just around the corner. This year, we anticipate graduating a total of 732 students. That's 614 at Belton High School and 118 at Belton New Tech High School at Wasco. Our ceremonies are set for Thursday, June the 1st at the Bell County Expo Center. Belton New Tech High School at Wasco will graduate at 2 p.m. and Belton High School at 7 o'clock p.m. And our seniors at Belton High School will once again be issued 9 tickets for graduation, as you know. I think it's been 3 years now maybe longer, 3. I think it's been 3 years now that we've had to ticket due to the size of our graduating class and the capacity at the Bell County Expo Center, and that's worked out for us. And then finally, prior to graduation on Sunday, May the 28th, is baccalaureate. That's sponsored by the Belton Fellowship of Ministers, and that is held at 2:00 p.m. at the First Baptist Church in Belton. All right, any questions about graduation?
It's always an exciting time.
Exciting.
Been a great
What
day.
we work for. I'm excited also this evening to announce our Teachers of the Year for 2017. You may have seen social media posts. Many campuses have been posting pictures of their teachers. However, I wanted to take just a few moments to announce the names of those teachers we're recognizing. At Belton High School, Pam Rodriguez. At New Tech High School, Matthew Mastrelli. At North Belton Middle School, Jessica Sufal. At Lake Belton Middle School, Kevin Pozaval. At South Belton Middle School, Angela Schroeder. At Chisholm Trail Elementary, Amanda Curlow. At High Point Elementary, Michelle Robinson. At Lakewood Elementary, Laura Osborne. At Leon Heights Elementary, Dana Jackson. At Miller Heights Elementary, Holly Schaefer. At Pirtle Elementary, Kristen Bate. At Southwest Elementary, Susan Klepak. At Sparta Elementary, Elizabeth Duncan. At Tarver Elementary, Lindsay Turner. And at Beck's, London Yepes. And something new that we're doing this year is to add a fine arts and a CTE and a coach of the year to expand the number of teachers that we're honoring. And our fine arts teacher of the year this year is Melissa Edwards. Our CTE teacher is Craig Sullivan. And our coach of the year is Danny Langley, one of our middle school coaches. We look forward to honoring our teachers at a special luncheon that we hold each year. That'll be on Tuesday, May the 23rd from 11:30 to 1 o'clock, and that will be at the Harris Community Center and not the Expo Center this year, so a little bit of a change in venue. And we hope that each of you will be able to join us to recognize those teachers. And as we do every year, we'll announce our elementary teacher of the year and our secondary teacher of the year at that event. And we're excited about that. Pre-K registration and kindergarten roundup. Each year we designate 1 week as our official roundup week to notify and communicate parents the opportunity to sign up. This year we did that April 10th through the 14th. Each of our elementary campuses hosted special optional meetings for parents to come learn about the school. Parents and their children get to tour the school and get to know the staff a little bit, and it's always a special time for our families. I can still remember taking my daughter to kindergarten roundup, and so it's a fun time. Those events also allow us a little time to see the numbers of students that are enrolling for those grades, and we get a glimpse of what those numbers might look like, and then parents are able to continue to register throughout the spring and the summer for both pre-kindergarten and kindergarten. So always fun. This year we had 380 students enrolled in pre-kindergarten. That's this year's enrollment, not from the events. And we had just over 800 students in kindergarten in 2016, 2017, a big number for us. Last item I have are our spring update presentations. We're looking forward to honoring our staff again this year. We go out each year, out to our campuses and departments and present service awards to our teachers for their years of service and other employees. And we recognize our retirees, and we honor our Every Kiddo Winner nominees, and we do that at each department and campus as well. And I just wanted to remind you that those presentations begin tomorrow at South Belton Middle School at 4:15 p.m. We have about 10 presentations this year. We have done some combining of some groups, but I hope you'll find at least one opportunity to join us in thanking our staff for a really great school year in Belton ISD. And that's it.
Can we get an update on bond presentations? You know, one of our goals is to share information with our community about what the plan is so that we can have educated voters. Can you give us an update on what's been happening? You had some kind of creative things happen last week.
Sure. We continue to push information out to our community. I've been giving a number of presentations. And last Thursday evening, we tried something new. We did a social media town hall using Facebook Live and had a number of viewers for that. We had a senior student, Tyree Ransom, who hosted and facilitated that event with me. And so that was something new that we tried. And then tomorrow evening, we'll be doing a teletown hall at 6:00 p.m. Where we'll have citizens have the ability to call in and ask questions and learn more information about the bond. And then I might mention that this afternoon, we had a student group come in. We had almost a dozen students who met with Jared Sturzinger and I to talk about the high school concept, and we heard from all kinds of program areas that our students represented, and they had lots of good questions and lots of good feedback about the high school. So appreciate Jason for reminding us to do that. That was very productive, and we sure enjoyed the kids. They're really great, smart
And
kids.
they'll be back. And one of the
And-
things
and they
we
wanna come
committed with Jared
back
was to
and
come back each
They
step of
wanna
the way
come
and help
back
revise the
and
plan.
See what happens.
Great
Yeah, so
opportunity.
We're thrilled to do
I
that.
just want to thank you and commend you for using a variety of means to communicate. You know, you hear things like you have to communicate things multiple times in multiple ways in order to get the message out. And I think, you know, it says something that the efforts that are being made to try and share the information, to answer questions, the frequently asked questions, or FAQ, are on the website. And we want to continue to address questions that come up and provide information to people, factual information, so that they can make an informed decision.
Thank you.
That's a good thing, so thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome.
And if anybody else has a opportunity, Dr. Kincannon was happy to go present.
I will. We
Your
can fit
group.
it in.
Great. Okay, is Kim Kroll make it? Okay, well, we're gonna skip the 1,000 books item and go right to the vision, mission, and goals of the board.
All right, I'll present this one. This is something that we do each year prior to the development of the district improvement plan and our campus improvement plans. The mission of Texas public education system is to ensure that all Texas children have access to a quality education that enables them to achieve their full potential and fully participate now and in the future in the social, economic, and educational opportunities in our state and nation. Our vision, mission, and goals are tightly aligned to that of the state, and our vision is to be a leader in preparing every student to excel in tomorrow's world. Our mission is to provide an education that challenges all of our students to excel. The board previously has carried this vision and mission for a number of years now and has adopted previously these 6 goals that we recommend to continue for this next school year. They're broad goals that cover every aspect of the district's operations and most importantly, the achievement of our students. And so I recommend that we continue these for 2017, 2018 as we develop those plans.
I have a motion for Ms. Jordan. Second for Ms. Winkler. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Those are important. For those of you that don't know, every one of our agenda items starts with a goal. In the packet of information, as you may see, every item that we discuss here starts with a goal. And how does this item, this action item, relate back to these important goals? And that helps keep us focused. But these are drivers for our planning. So
They are.
and they've worked well for us,
They have.
and we're on track, and we want to stay on that track to continuing to provide excellence and to continue to provide opportunities for our students to excel. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kincannon. All right, Todd, you want to talk to us about personnel? It's a big night.
It's a big night. The first part of personnel is contracts. So tonight we have administrative contracts and professional contracts to recommend to you. We do this every year. Just contract extensions and renewals. There's 65 administrators and 777 professional contracts up for renewal.
Okay, well, we've been provided a list of the renewals and extensions for 27-18. I would just add, as we have discussed the evaluations Dr. Kincannon has shared with us, the exceptional quality of our administrative team, not only excellence in performance, but the stability that you provide our school district and our campuses and our departments is a big part of our success for our students. So administrator, for those of you who are present, we thank you for your work. We appreciate you. We know we ask a lot of you, but it's about our kids, and so we don't apologize for that. So thank you for what you do on behalf of our school district. So let's entertain a motion to approve the administrative contracts and professional contract renewals as presented. We have a motion from Ms. Winkler, a second from Mr. Cowan. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. And that's unanimous and enthusiastic, right? Okay. Anything else? More personnel.
More personnel. I'm excited tonight. One thing that's not on the list there is Rob Pasachnik. He's the director of school nutrition. We've offered him a position. He has accepted. Rob's here tonight. Rob's got about 30 years of experience in school or food service industry. I had the pleasure of working with him at Scott and White back in the 90s when I was there. And I got to know him, and he's had a lot of experience with hospitals. And most recently, he has also worked as assistant director of school nutrition in Temple ISD. So we're excited to have him here with us tonight and look forward to working with him.
Rob, we welcome you to Belton and look forward to what you bring. We are innovative in a lot of ways, but that food truck that we introduced this year has gotten a lot of excitement and a lot of energy around our district and with our students. And so we look forward to what you bring to help us continue to engage our students and provide quality services and take care of our staff along the way. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking on this new challenge.
He started
Welcome.
today.
Today's
So the real question is if you'll be back tomorrow, right? So,
he will.
thank you. Thank you for being here.
In addition to Rob, we've got 5 teachers we're recommending for tonight. Laura Carroll is one of those individuals, and she was here for about 5 years previously, so she's a returning employee.
Okay.
And so the 5 teachers, speech and language assistant, and we have received and accepted 27 resignations.
So these are all for next year?
These are
right?
all
Okay,
for next
make
year.
clear, these are for the 2017-18 school year.
Yes, sir. And we have 32 openings for the upcoming school year as well.
Okay, great. Any of those folks here? One here? Okay. We'll entertain a motion to approve the personnel recommendations. Motion from Mr. Norwood. Oh, well, what's your name? You haven't been, Mr. Camden. Sorry, you've been quiet over here. Motion from Mr. Norwood, second from Mr. Camden. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. That's unanimous. Thank you, Leo. Sorry to harass you. I shouldn't have harassed you. You're just. Next item. Oh, this is our ranking of proposals in connection with the RFP 1703905-157 for construction manager at risk services for new comprehensive high school.
All right. In January, the board approved the CMAR as the delivery method for the comprehensive high school number 2 and authorized us to issue an RFP for the project. We released that RFP on March the 10th and received 5 submissions from general contractors by the deadline of April the 3rd. The RFP sought information on each firm's experience and qualifications, as well as proposed fee for construction management and pre-construction services, and the general conditions cost for the project. An evaluation committee interviewed all 5 firms on April the 5th and the 6th. The committee considered the experience and qualifications of each firm, including but not limited to experience with comparable size projects, experience in the Central Texas area, past performance, experience of the proposed personnel and management team, reputation, financial resources, corporate stability, and each firm's safety record. The overall experience in financial resources and stability constituted 75% of the evaluation, and the remaining 25% of the evaluation was the proposed fee for the project, which includes the CMAR fee, the pre-construction fee, and the general conditions costs. Bartlett Contractors was the top-ranked firm by 6 out of 7 members of the committee based on the criteria published on the RFP. And we did provide you with the top 3 rankings. Bartlett Cock was number 1, American Constructors number 2, and MW Builders came in 3. And so upon your approval this evening, we will begin negotiations with Bartlett Cock and proceed from there with the goal of bringing you a contract back in May. And that's it.
Okay, are there any questions? This is an important process, obviously a very big project for us, an important decision. So we thank you for your diligence and process to come to the right conclusion. It's important for us to choose the right partner. Just as we chose our architect, the right partner, we need to choose the right contractor for this project. Does anybody have any comments, questions? Dr. Kim Cannon?
Bartlett Cock is here this evening. We could introduce them, or you.
Yeah,
would you like
that'd
to
be
do
great.
that
I don't know, who
before
wants
you
to speak? Does somebody want to speak on your behalf?
Kevin Bird is our Vice President of Operations, and I'll let Kevin introduce the team. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Board, for having us tonight. Again, my name's Kevin Bird. I'm Vice President of Operations for the Central Texas Office of Bartlett Cock General Contractors. We know this project is a big deal for you. It's a big deal for us, too. We want to thank you for hopefully finally selecting us to be your construction manager. We got a lot of our team came here today. I wanted to do a brief introduction. First, our superintendent, he'll be the full-time on-site guy. That's Jim Brenner. He's currently on his 3rd consecutive project in Belton for the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, so he knows this area very well. Scott Stites is our pre-construction manager. He'll be very involved on the front end of the project. Sonny Person will be our full-time on-site project manager. Sonny, too, has done a lot of work here in Belton for the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor. We have Wright Wood back there. He's our senior estimator. He's the number cruncher. He's responsible for keeping us on budget and setting the tone early. Sean Stevens is our regional manager. Also done a lot of work here in Belton. And probably our most important part of the team, Mark Hibner. He's a product of Belton ISD, went to elementary school, went to school in this building right here and graduated from Belton High School. So glad to have him as part of the team.
Good to see the full circle.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I wanted to commend your selection committee. The interview that we had was hands down one of the most collaborative interviews we've been in a long time. We're used to coming in and giving a big, long 30-minute presentation about ourselves. They said, not so fast. You talk for 10 minutes and we're going to drill you with 50 minutes of Q&A. And they asked the tough questions, I will have you know. So I felt like we responded well, probably why we're here today. So thank you, and we're looking forward to being part of the team. You mentioned partnerships a lot. We truly view this as a partnership. So.
Kevin, you got that right. We know, we've been in those meetings where you get drilled, so we know. And then when I said earlier, we appreciate the process, we have an understanding of how much scrutiny there can be, and that's a good thing, because we want to be good stewards. You obviously come with a great reputation and here in town, doing some great projects and in our area, so we're excited about the opportunity to work with you and being partners with you. This is a multi-year project where we will be working very closely, so we expect we'll see some of y'all, many of y'all, hanging around here. We'll just need to get you some red shirts to wear, and you'll fit in really well. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments for Kevin or Dr. Kincannon or anybody else? Okay, Mr. Norwood is going to abstain from this vote, but is there a motion to approve the recommendation? Have a motion from Mr. Cowan, second from Ms. Winkler. Any other comments, questions? All in favor of the motion, raise a hand. And that passes 6-0 with one abstention. Mr. Norwood, thank you.
All right, now Kim Kroll's here. So let's back up and talk about the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. Thank you for coming. Please tell us about this opportunity.
I apologize for being late.
You're all right.
I am the director of the library here in Belton, and we have started a program called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. And we launched it at Beck's 2 weeks ago. And what the program is about is it's just to help families understand how important early literacy is. And y'all already know what that importance is to get books into the hands of children and read to them as soon as you bring them home from the hospital. Doesn't matter what you read, you can sit and read the newspaper to them. It doesn't matter, it's just the tone of your voice.
Newspaper's a great thing to read.
Yes,
for
it is.
Our children.
You know, it's just, well, you read the comics, they probably have those, but they don't care what the content is. It's the tone of your voice, it's the fact that you're spending time reading with them. And you can read everywhere. You can read in the car, you can read street signs, and the best thing they love to do is if you teach them the letter that their name begins with and point it out absolutely everywhere. You know, that's just one of the fun things. You'll find me something in the grocery store that begins with T, if that's their name. You know, I think that's the best thing ever. And we want to get books into the hands of kids. That's what we really want to do. And the Friends of the Library really helped me do that. And so that's what I wanted to let y'all know we were doing that. Bex is helping me get the word out to all of their students, and we're handing out flyers and things at the library so parents can register the kids at the library and through the school district as well. So I just wanted to let y'all know that.
That's a wonderful thing. We're so excited. I've been hearing about this. I hadn't heard the specifics. What kind of response are you getting from?
Well, we actually had several parents come to the school, and I had some at the teachers at the school were handing out, they have all my flyers, so they're passing it out to the kids there.
Great.
And we have a library card, because a lot of the parents especially with the kids that go to PECs, you know, they work multiple jobs and they can't always get off to come get a library card. So we've developed a BISD library card where all it takes is a signature. And they can download that from the city website, and they can send it through the school, and we get the cards to the kids.
A wonderful opportunity. We're so thankful for the service that you provide to our community, especially during the summer breaks.
Yes, and we will be getting
we're
the
out of
summer
school
reading
and those-
flyers out very soon.
Many of our students, you know, take home a stack of books out of the library. I know I've seen them.
Yeah.
But having that opportunity is so great, and we appreciate your willingness to provide that and this challenge. This is a great challenge.
thank you.
For everybody. So thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, Deanna, you want to talk to us about EIC local and EIE local?
I sure do.
Oh,
Exactly. So tonight we have two revisions to policies before you, and this is for first reading, and then we'll be bringing those back for approval at the next board meeting. EIC local has quite a few changes in it, and the EIC local defines how we use class weighting to weight our courses for class ranking of our students. And so I want to highlight those changes. So the first one is that we are revising the policy to be up to date with our current course offerings of online learning. And with our District of Innovation plan, we added a couple courses that the old language would not have recognized. The former language in the policy was not to allow weighting of virtual courses, distance learning, but online courses for dual credit would be considered under that. So we're revising the policy to include immediate weighting for all new dual credit and AP courses for next school year, beginning with next school. I want to be clear on that. And those courses are our AP Computer Science and our dual credit EMT, Engineering, Intro to Web Design, Online Spanishes, and Intro to Health Professions. So we increased our dual credit course offerings, and we needed to include those in our weighting. It is changing, or it's adding all of those. And then beginning with our next year, with our 9th grade students, we are going to include all dual credit or AP courses in the weighting. So currently, we only include courses that are in math, English, science, social studies, and foreign language. However, we do believe that when students and their parents help them choosing courses, kids immediately assume that an AP course would be weighted or a dual credit course would be rated despite which course that is. And so that's a very fair and good practice. We studied some other districts around our region districts our size, and that because of the content and rigor of dual credit courses and AP courses, both, I'll remind you, opportunities to seek college credit while in high school. They're rigorous enough that we should consider them for weighting. So we have revised that. And then finally, we last year had brought to the board to change the names of courses at New Tech, specifically pre-AP English 3 and 4 and government and economics, because those are U.S. history. Those were not appropriately should be called pre-AP. So we designated them as honors. And so we have included honors in the same weighting as pre-AP. Not changing the practice, just clarifying the name to make sure those align. That's EIC local. Second policy is EIE local. This policy allows campus principals, it actually addresses for our students our retention policy. And we reviewed some other districts, again, our size and in our area, and their practice for better serving specifically students that are at risk, that may not meet the promotion criteria, but for various reasons really need to be in the next grade level. And so this policy will allow principals to form a committee to place a student who is at risk in the next grade, should that be the best decision for that student. And we talked with principals about this, and just to give you a little bit of history on that, we had 6 students last year at the middle school level that were retained, and we could have looked at something like this for them. So it's really just it will not go outside of the processes in place for grade placement committees with our STAR student success initiatives, but it would allow campuses to make some individual decisions for kids in their best interest. And those are those 2 policies.
So we'll have those for review. And any questions we can forward to you.
That'll be great.
Or we'll talk about it again next month.
Okay.
At the meeting. Follow-up, thank you for providing the follow-up on AP exams.
Yes.
After last month. Appreciate the follow-up and
Welcome.
providing that information. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much.
Sure.
And just kind of as a coming attraction, we'll get to look at this policy in a couple of years as we look forward to expanding into another high school and.
Probably within a year.
Yeah, right.
So,
A
yes.
year or so.
Absolutely. Yes, we
We'll
will.
get to come back and have some discussion that's going to take some conversation,
Absolutely, we will.
as it always does with this policy.
That is correct. Yes. Thanks for pointing that out. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, issues or concerns for future agenda or administrative reports? Anybody have any requests? Jeff? Amanda? Mike?
No, sir.
Sue?
No, just a question. Are we attending this workshop in Waco on May 23rd?
It conflicts with the New Tech Awards
I
Assembly,
would say-
so
I would say
be
no.
an individual
We
decision.
have not gone last couple of years to that, but certainly it's available. I'll be at the awards, academic awards.
But if you want to go, we'll register.
No.
We'd be happy to register you.
Leo? Jason? Okay, well, here's just a couple, I've already heard about several things that are on the calendar, but want to remind you, Superintendent Scholars is Wednesday, a really important event, and with some special extras this year, right?
Really exciting.
The Belton New Tech High School at Wasco Camp Out is coming up. Great opportunity to interact and engage with some of our families who are camping out to attend a public school. And then the actual sign-up happens at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. So that's always a fun event. Encourage you to be there. The 20th, well, they'll start on Thursday. I think Thursday at 3, help me. 5, sorry, thank you.
And then
Thursday
Saturday
at
morning
5,
at
they start lining up. Some of them start earlier than that. But they get to register in at 5, and then 8 o'clock Saturday morning is when they actually sign in and get their point.
Saturday morning.
This week. Pre-prom is at Belton High School on Friday. One of those unbelievable great events. If you haven't had an opportunity to go to that, it's a wonderful opportunity. And of course, prom is Saturday, but it's not quite as fun.
Early voting for our bond election and trustee election begin next Monday, the 24th, leading up to Election Day on May 6th. And our next regular meeting is scheduled for May 15th. One more reminder, Dr. Kincannon mentioned about the spring updates and awards and employee recognitions that start tomorrow. We didn't get a sign-up list, but I really want to encourage you to make as many of those as you can, at least make it to one, get the update. Wonderful opportunity for us to connect with our employees and thank them for those service years, service pins and awards, and recognize those who are retiring. Okay, I think we're done, and it's 7:17. We are adjourned. Have a happy evening.